I never understood why they never just attacked the Power Rangers while they were assembling their weapons.
So Dyson is Zordon?
Well, no. Well, yeah, I guess. Well, no, yeah. Dyson, the man, not the company, is Zordon, and the people who buy his vacuums are the Power Rangers, fighting dirt and dust.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did you get all that?
That's nerds.
Hey.
Hey!
What up?
Guys, we're so excited. We have a Tomorrow Lab celebrity here, or maybe a real life celebrity who's connected to Tomorrow Lab. Jon Lung is in the house.
What up?
Yes.
John's a Mythbuster, guys. Sorry, I nerd out a little bit.
Also, when I was in grad school, these guys were my teachers, and then I interned for them. And then I became a Mythbuster.
He's a Mythbuster, guys.
Wow.
A real deal Mythbuster. What do you do on Mythbusters?
So I'm a co-host with my friend Brian Loudon, and we test kind of stories and sayings and things you hear all the time that you think may or may not be true. We take the time out and verify them with the scientific method.
And explosives.
And then we blow stuff up.
Frequently with explosives.
Yeah.
And did you guys do any like teardowns like this, or?
Yeah, well, usually if we are about to test something, like let's say a car, we will tear the car apart, learn everything about it, and then build tests from small scale all the way to full scale.
Got it. So this is gonna feel natural.
It's all part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe something will blow up and they'll be even more like my normal work.
So today, by the way, we have a surprise product. Well, actually, Peppa knows what it is.
It's my Dyson.
Da-da-da, whoa!
It's been a very impressive vacuum cleaner. There's a lot of interesting features about it. It has the famous Dyson Cyclone, which is like we'll get into, but it extracts dust.
Multi-cyclones, right?
Multiple cyclones, all sorts of cyclones. The more cyclones, the better, as we've learned from their marketing materials.
Yep.
Two very interesting things happening from a design perspective. First, they foreground the fact that this company is like all about innovation and they spend tons of time making new technology.
Yeah.
But then they celebrate the bejesus out of it in the design of the product. So like instead of hiding all of the spinny bits inside, it's all exposed.
I'm trying to think if there are other companies that do that. I would say maybe like muscle cars or any sort of, product that is they celebrate the engine or the exhaust or something that does something in the product.
It would be like the exact opposite design ethos of Apple. Let's talk about this thing alone because there's so much technology. This is like the original innovation. This represents the cyclones, but it also reveals a lot of the interesting design details that Dyson is famous for. A lot of clicky, switchy, flippy, ergonomic-y bits.
There are over 5 latches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There might be more.
Okay.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of latches.
For a consumer product, it's like usually you try to limit the interaction with the object to keep things simpler, but this is like you said, very transparent and very in the opposite direction of like, oh yeah, you can do this and you can replace all the seals or whatever, blah blah blah. I think so. That is incredible. I mean, it's the one button that actuates pretty much all the functions on this canister, correct?
Yeah.
So like you said, you boom, this removes the vacuum, but this also opens the little trap down here and also allows you to get into this little doodad.
That little doodad is maybe my
biggest pain point.
It's just not.
There we go.
Yeah, but it works.
But it's kind of nuts that this one thing that has like, let's say how many, one spring here, probably like 5 springs in it, controls every aspect of this one Cyclone.
Yeah.
From a molding standpoint, it's also crazy. Like this is one injection molded piece, and then this thing here is one injection molded piece. And so they've created this thing with bonkers slides. You can see witnesses of the way it's molded on the outside. They didn't bother to clean that up. They just thought that looked cool.
Celebrate.
Yep, celebrate it. This thing snaps in through this little latch bit here.
It's crazy.
And what's crazy is like this thing's lasted me a decade, and this dinky little plastic part is never broken because it's all captured and protected. We're doing it?
I mean, yeah, we're already.
Hey, commence the teardown?
Commence the teardown.
Okay, commenced. All right, let's do it. Oh,
That's
that's the Cyclone.
Ooh, look at that. It looks very nerfy.
It's
really
so
exactly.
nerdy. Oh, hey, that's... Pause. Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about
The
Nerf.
company that is most like Dyson is Nerf.
You are right.
Because
Whoa!
they expose all of their plasticky bits on the outside. Stuff's super durable for being made out of plastic.
It looks like weapons.
It looks like weapons. Yeah.
But also, it's like, you think like a concept as simple as sucking garbage or dirt off a floor is as simple as shooting a foam dart up, but then when you take the gun apart or take the vacuum apart, there's a ton of safety considerations in Nerf guns that like, you're like, oh wow, yeah. To stop kids from shooting like batteries or pencils at one another.
Okay, so suction is applied here, and what happens is dirty air comes in through here from the bottom of the vacuum cleaner, goes spinny, 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 the big fluff comes out, then it comes up through here into these 5 cyclones, and then those repel all the little dust, and then the air comes out through here through this final filter, which like helps reduce like the very, very small particles, and then out this hole, and this is clean air. Now there's an interesting little check valve here, which I think if you clog all 5 cyclones, this allows air to come in and it keeps the motor from overheating.
Makes sense.
Very cool.
I think when we look at why this was $400, there's some very clear areas that they've invested money in the molding, specifically these 2 pieces, which appear to be single injection molded parts. For those familiar with tooling design, there's this principle of an undercut and draw. And that's the idea that when you have a 2-part mold, you need to be able to get the thing out of it once it's done. But if you look at this, the angle of the pipes or the tubes on this are angled in. How would you get this out of a mold?
You would have 5 individual lifters for each of these, and then the mold would push those lifters out in line with this so that they would like slide out of their individual pockets.
So it's probably, it has the 6 that go in, and they probably have a centerpiece they put in that keeps them at the angle.
Yeah.
When they want to release it, they remove the centerpiece, freeing up all these to loosen up and come
and then
out.
they slide this way towards each other.
You're
But
right.
that's very weird. You would normally have things slide away from each other in a mold. That's easier, but not easy. This is insane.
You can see the witness lines here of that center core, and then the, the 5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
This piece also not too shabby in the molding front. This is also, you know, it's molded with 5 different slides on the outside, 5 different side actions to create these different hole patterns. And then there's a center core here and a core here. So very expensive tooling.
So one of your complaints was that this can lose suction. Where do you think it's going wrong?
It goes wrong in the gaskets. So like just looking at this piece right here, we have 3 stages of gaskets, one at the bottom of the canister, one at the top, and one covering the 5 cyclones. But then we also have a gasket that interfaces with this, and a gasket that interfaces with this.
And also, this is kind of a gasket.
Yeah, and so like if this doesn't have enough spring force to seal well, this will bleed air into the system. And so just in this, we have 5 areas where over time the gaskets will get like soggy and mushy and dry up, and you can lose suction.
Jon, this has a lot to do with suction. Have there been any Mythbuster episodes about suction?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, even before my generation, there's been a lot of work around vacuums. For example, like, could you pick up a car with a household vacuum? And the answer is yes.
What?
You can, because you know that like your lifting force is basically PSI, like how many PSI your vacuum pulls, times the surface area that it's pulling. So
Okay.
if you have a large enough, I guess you call it a head on a vacuum cleaner, you could lift any object, as long as the seal's good. And so, yeah.
So you just like generate, like it becomes a little, sort of like a vacuum pump.
Yeah.
And then you spread it across lots of.
Yeah.
And they did that?
Yes, except the only downside is that, you know, it doesn't fail at the vacuum. It fails where like the vacuum contraption meets the car, because certain parts of the car are made of really thin sheet metal that it's not meant to be picked up by. So then you'll
It
get a
has hoist
buckle.
points.
Yep,
Yeah.
you'll get buckle in like the hood or the trunk, and it'll drop the car. But overall, in a perfect scenario, you could totally pick up a car with just a single, perhaps Dyson vacuum cleaner.
That's really fascinating, because it points out that the job is really about the seal, the gasket, and the airtight connection, which relates to Pepin's point about why his Dyson vacuum failed, and he thinks it's because of the gaskets.
It's because of the gaskets.
So normal vacuums have a bag,
Yeah.
and they have a motor that's creating the suction, and wherever that suction hole encounters the bag is where the dust is being drawn into. The problem with this is that if at any point you had a clog near the point of suction,
Yeah.
your whole system fails.
Ah.
So what Dyson has done is by creating these cyclones, right? They've created more points that are creating the suction. They've repositioned the suction point from the bottom to the top, so it's very unlikely that it would get clogged.
Oh, cool.
And because of gravity,
the stuff settles.
right? So as dust is brought in through subsequent smaller versions of the Cyclone, we're able to maintain that force
That's
as
cool.
it's drawn in.
And the Cyclone itself it's basically just a cone
Right.
with a vacuum applied at the top of the cone and the dust entering at the top as well.
Right.
And so it settles downward.
Oh.
How do I watch Mythbusters?
Oh, you can watch it. They're gonna love this. You can watch it on like the Science Go app. You can also watch it on Hulu and on Amazon. Oh boy.
You mean the high five?
Trips
High fives!
Yep. Just let all that and then let all that dust settle.
All right.